You open your eyes. I'm getting tutorials now. The bed isn't warm. The room is filled with artificial light from the ceiling. The solid metal door is closed. Normally, you'd stretch for a bit. On some mornings, you'd probably throw the quilt over yourself and snooze a moment longer. But that was before. The way you woke up now, you are fully conscious, no grogginess, nothing weighing you down. Just the nagging need in the back of your head. Hunger. Not as severe as the last time, but unmistakably there. You get up and open the door to the main room. A digital clock on the TV shows you the time, 9:04 p.m. You walk over the blinds and retract them cautiously, so that's what your waking hours are going to look like now. You miss the sunlight already. You're seriously considering just walking out of the apartment and figuring this all out by yourself. But then you come back to the Maria Kadir's exotic sword being raised in the gallery. Maybe sticking around isn't that bad of an idea after all. You keep jumping channels for around half an hour and then switch to streaming services, almost as if the universe had a sense of irony. You catch True Bloods in the flood of recommendations. Fuck. The doorbell rings. It's so... Good evening, Stephen. Slept well? Well, like a dead man. Curious wording, but not that far from the truth, I suppose. No use dwelling on it. I think you will agree. With time. You made the right choice yesterday. I can teach you many things about yourself. Your blood, its desires, and its power. We will begin tonight. You are hungry, yes? I'm sure you are. Our kind always is. There is only one remedy, the blood. The drinks we had yesterday at Elysium are not the usual way, slake your thirst. So tonight I will assist you in your first foray into hunting. You need to learn to sense the kind of blood you desire, to understand how you can use the kind's vulnerabilities to your advantage. I'm ready to learn. Let's get started. Such eagerness, or is it just your hunger making you impatient? You will find that drinking moderate amounts of it regularly will keep the hunger and the whispers of the beast away. You might think yourself monstrous, but there's a balance to be found here. The kiss gives the kind pleasure. You might remember this from your own embrace. Some can even become addicted to the sensation. All the kisses, drinking blood, like the bite. The embrace, I already told you, it's becoming a vampire. After all, vampires do not exist. They are myths, fairy tales, and pop culture mainstays, correct? She gives you a sly, knowing smile. That is why the Masquerade is so important, and even more crucial when you feed. How do you select a victim? How do you choose who to feed from? Are there better or worse targets? Isolated kind are easiest prey, of course, but much depends on context. Hunting requires a different approach in a busy club than it does on an empty street, of course. With time, you will have the luxury of finding your preference in hunting methods and prey, of course. For now, I suggest experimenting in moderation. Feeding from the same area repeatedly can be dangerous, but by branching out, you risk the ire of other kindred on whose domain trespass. Lucky for you, NYC is more forgiving in this regard. New York is in somewhat of a unique position. Many of its neighborhoods remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves these upcoming nights. As long as you uncautiously and respect the Masquerade at all times, you should be fine. To wit, I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs, Gregory is waiting for us. The busy street fills the air with traffic noise, pedestrian chatter, and a mix of smells that disorients you momentarily. These warm bodies contain what you want, what you need. You catch yourself. Did you really just think of these people as mere sources of blood? It takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. Her driver opens the door for her and then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. The car casually joins the somewhat thinned New York traffic. It's still busy in a way only one of the biggest cities in the world can be, but compared to the daytime commute, it's a pleasant drive. You barely have the time to gather your thoughts and formulate new questions before the car comes to a stop. You're among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. Come, Stephen. Park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver just nods, and Sophie gets out. You join her, and the two of you walk through the glass doors together, then take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with the instruments of a string quartet still in the back, then taking the few dozen chairs in front of it. The concert seeming concluded, the patrons, all smartly dressed and posh, have spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside, produces an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of a security guard. You follow close and are let through without issue. Let's start easy. A social setting like this one would usually prove quite challenging to an inexperienced kindred, but consider this evening a small gift from your patron. I'm hoping to procure for you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage her. Now, let's see here. Ah, there he is. She notices somebody in the crowd, flashes a heart-melting smile, and suddenly even you feel drawn to her. You haven't thought about it before, but it's laid clear before you in this moment. Sophie is beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost stripping over himself to reach her, clearly agrees. Edgar, I'm so happy to see you. How's your daughter? Is she with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl. Come over, please. There's somebody I'd like you to meet. The young woman who walks across the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and the partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is Stephen. I think the two of you should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awfully boring stuff, I assure you. I'm positive you'll like each other. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly Sophie expects you to do. You reach a secluded space from which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. They listen intently, then laugh when she does. Julie saves you the trouble figuring out the next step. If you're with Sophie, then I guess you're, you know. She puts her wrist to her lips and gives herself a theatrical nip. Then looks to you, embarrassed, but also hopeful. Are you into this sort of thing? Like, okay, well, I mean, if she is, she is. I mean, apparently it feels good, like it feels pleasurable to receive, so if it's her thing, I'm not gonna judge her. She blushes, looks down at the floor, and nods. Could you, if you'd like, Miss Langley tells me she swallows hard, avoids your eyes, that I taste nice. If there's an opportunity, she said I should take it, so drink from Julie. Take her forearm in your hands. A quick look around confirms nobody's watching, and no security cameras cover this area. You bite down gently. It's surreal. She's just given you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amid the bliss. There's just the taste, sweet, fresh, sanguine. You drink. And drink. And drink. No, stop. You tear away from the girl harder than you wanted. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures, almost as if by instinct you lick them clean, and the two holes become concealed, just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly on her feet, but happy. She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes, a few tears fall onto her shirt, tears of joy. Thank you. Please, can you walk me downstairs, please? My dad, he doesn't know. Thinks it's a condition. Miss Langley told him so. She leans on you and requests you walk her over to a bench. She takes a seat and smiles at you. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly. Looking at her now, only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure, but not your type. What came over you before? You walk over to her. Edgar, dear, it was splendid talking to you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with Stephen. Gregory is waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you. I can tell from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl's exquisite, don't you think? You wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. It brings out a unique bouquet in her blood. I feel like I took advantage of her. This feels all wrong. I feel like I violated her, like I took advantage of her. Oh, please. Spare me your dramatics. I'm sure she was happy sharing herself. She's such a sheltered girl. Let her have some fun from time to time. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off this time, Gregory. Flushing Meadows, please. The driver takes the car over the Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. I mean, I'm gonna ask it because I want her to explain it to people that are not familiar, but I'm assuming she's a Ventru, and she used one of the disciplines, one of the powers of her clan to appear more beautiful and enticing and get attention. What did you do? Oh, well, so yeah, I want her to explain it. Those people back at the hall, they were all entranced. Even I was under your spell. What was that? She smiles with satisfaction. That old trick? Just the blood doing my bidding. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people or make them fear me. I see more of the world and in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision, grace, and even more. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. Do I need my powers to hunt? So you're saying that it's best to use these talents when hunting? They are useful, certainly, but their utility is universal. Survival, violence, intrigue, entertainment, and pleasure too, some nights. Always keep the Masquerade in mind, however. It is all fine if you can disappear in plain sight, or command animals with your mind, but save those overt talents for the right place and right time. It only takes you half an hour to reach the park at this time of the night. Both you and Sophie leave the car, with Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight, the stars just barely visible in the light-polluted aura of the sky. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go look for somebody to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood, but only pick one victim, just one, then come back. Okay, seeing how she seems not altogether here right now, you decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger or someone like them could work, but focusing on one area might work better. The New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot. There's a skate park nearby, and worst case scenario, there's bound to be some unfortunate wino around. Or maybe the tennis courts nearby. There's lights coming from there, so somebody might be still playing late at night. They won't be alone, but they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning out to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the new familiar hunger prompts you to act. Okay. Look for prey. I mean, the chance of them being, together is, kind of high. So, hunt near the decrepit pavilion. Search for a victim around the park. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that. You start walking. The park's many avenues must hold a good spot or two for a predator like yourself. You pass 2 soccer fields and circle around where the Fountain of the Planets once awed visitors with its spectacle before coming across as an opportunity. A woman, a small duffel bag on her arm, is making her way through the park in a hurry. She doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. To focus on her attention, that's one of my power. But if I do that, I'll lose blood, right? I mean, it consumes so... But I'm gonna feed, so... Lie in wait, then overpower her. It plays out like a typical scenario of its sort. The attacker, that's you, lying, wait for the hapless victim to come close, then the trap is sprung. Or that's how you expected it to play out. Fuck. Instead, a woman notices you ahead of time and skirts around you. You start following her, and she switches from an hurried walk into a nervous trot. You think you feel a stir within your body, the blood giving you some extra speed. Just a bit of an edge to reach the woman. All else goes out of focus. The hunt takes central stage. Her foot strikes your face as a result of a sloppy but still effective roundhouse kick. Help! It's not enough to deter you. Not now. A base instinct takes over. She is your quarry. You will feed on her. Your hand lands on her mouth. She struggles, elbows you in the stomach, stomps on your foot, bites your palm. You return the favor. Your fangs pierce her shoulder. She tenses up, then relaxes. The duffel bag hits the ground. She moans into your hand. Her blood, fueled by adrenaline, fear, and excitement, flows fast and hot into your own body. Bliss. Footsteps. You let go of her. She drops to the ground, barely conscious. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you. What do you think you're doing, bargaining on my turf like this, lick? What the fuck is a lick? A derogatory term usually used to address young, unexperienced vampire. Uh-oh. I'm on someone's turf. Well, didn't mean to trespass. I'm gone. I'm not here for trouble. Too late for that, friendo. You want to leave here in one piece? You talk. Candidly. I know what you are, so you can shove that mastered misdirection up your ass. Now, better tell me who you're with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you. Let's not, you know what? Let's not attract too much attention and not, you know, say, oh, I'm with Sophie Langley. I'm with the Camarilla. Chill out, I'm with the Camarilla. Which is weird from a Bruja to say, but, you know. He does anything but chill out. He immediately tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look, and bares his fangs. You with the Ivory Tower cunts, huh? Well, tonight's my lucky night. I'ma fuck you up and bring you to Callahan. You'll have some fun breaking your shins, and maybe by the end of it, I'll get to have a nice long sip. I wonder what you taste like, lick. He does his best impression of Hannibal Lecter's and a nice Chianti shtick, but he's not as intimidating as he thinks he is. Do I run back to Sophie? Oh yeah, I have celebrity. If I call for help, I'm just gonna draw attention. Yeah, you know what? I mean, unless he has celerity too, or whatever the hell, like he might be a Tremere for all I know. And you could, like, you know, use blood magic. You know what? Let's... I don't want to, like, start the hostilities. Celerity, run back to Sophie fast. You take off. Fast. Faster than you've ever run. The hoodlum has trouble keeping up, but howls behind you like an animal it gives chases. As you reach the Unisphere again, you slow down, noticing two people near the sculpture. A man and a woman, tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie, feeding, but this whole scene is set up so that it looks like a couple getting intimate in public. She pulls it off, like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him towards a nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. A driver appears from behind the tree. Well, Stephen, how did it go? You're about to answer when the same figure as before emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the three of you, and a predatory smile creeps up on his lips. You thought you could run away from me, Lick? Think you'll be safe with your friends? Well, I have friends too. He makes a motion to shout, but two things happen almost at the same time. First, that feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, entrancing both of you and the other thug. His shout comes out as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster under his jacket and slams it into the thug's chest. Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down on the ground, paralyzed. I see you've made a friend, Stephen. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? He mentioned a Callahan. He said something about presenting me to somebody named Callahan. Ever heard of him? She looks shocked for a split second. then recovers her regular countenance. Yes, I have. This hoodlum is Anarch. Curious, Corona Park has not been claimed by any kindred last I checked. Okay, so the Anarch, I'm gonna explain it. They're just, they're kind of like the Camarilla, but, you know, the Ivory Tower is another name for the Camarilla. We've already explained what the Camarilla was in the previous vid. The Anarch is a vampire sect that opposes the tyranny of elders and has placed itself outside the secret society of the Camarilla. So basically, they're like revolutionaries. Like they're kind of like the Camarilla. Let's just say they're free thinkers. Okay, they're like not opposite the Camarilla because they share some, let's say, beliefs, like you know, the Masquerade and everything, like keeping unseen from the human, the mortal world. But they're, you know, where the Camarilla is like really focused on controlling, they're focused on being free, but at the same time they're safe, you know what I mean? Like they're not reckless, which heavily clashes with the Sabbat, which is another faction. I don't know if they're gonna talk about it, but they're, you know, they're mostly like vampire terrorists that believes like, yeah, fuck humans, fuck everything. We're like apex predators, the humans like should serve us and everything. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Kadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this Hunbound's acquaintance. Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight, and you're quite happy you're not in that poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising that you can get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away, but then you remember that Sophie has been doing this far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Kadir and the prince. I'm sure they'll have some interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. Okay, so what's going to happen to him? I feel like that's the question I want to ask, because I don't know when this game takes place, and I don't know, like, we're in New York City, and my knowledge of the World of Darkness lore is like really like basic, so I don't know how the Camarilla and Anarchs, or even Sabbat for that matter, situation is in New York City. Who has the upper hand? Who's, you know, like, I don't know the politics in this place and this time, so I'm just gonna ask what's going to happen to him. What's going to happen to him? Well, the usual, I imagine. Interrogation by Kadir, probably in the basement of the gallery. A quick trial with the prince in attendance if she's there tomorrow night. And probably a swift execution as the verdict. This all sounds eerily familiar to you, and you can't help but feel a pang of guilt when you think about what awaits this guy tomorrow. I mean, better him than us, right? You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope. Well, it'll take some getting used to. I'll need time to get used to this. It doesn't come naturally to me. Well, with time, you need to think about it less. Hunting is the one scenario in which you'll do well to trust your instincts, in moderation of course. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory with the body in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass on the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time, you feel tired. You learned something about yourself today, and it'll take some time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelves in the apartments are either in languages you don't speak or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door, a moment of hesitation, but then a decision. This time, you turn the light off. You think back to Julie. How many people in this city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park. If he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? I mean, yeah, more or less. I mean, he's independent, but he's just in a different faction, mostly, with different beliefs. More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night when you can start crossing them off the list, instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms, like an old friend. I kinda fucked it up on my first hunt. You open your eyes. It's pitch dark here, the blackness of a coffin drifting in the abyss. Oh, right, the light. You grasp for the switch, flip it, the familiar cramped room with the steel door and no windows come into view. You emerge from this bedroom fully awake just like yesterday. This time, however, Sophie's waiting for you, comfortably seated on the sofa in your living room space, a book in her hand, The Melancholy of Resistance. The title's sure on brand. Good evening, Stephen. Sorry to have kept you waiting. To be fair, I haven't been here long. I was enjoying reminiscing about the time when I called this my haven. The decor was much different, of course. Come, we have an appointment. I received word Elysium would be called again tonight on account of your unruly friend from Corona Park. This should be a great opportunity for you to mingle. She keeps talking as you walk downstairs and get in the car. Gregory gives you a slight nod and a small smile while opening the door for Sophie. He starts the car when you take your seat in the back. Most of the Primogen Council is bound to be there, at least those who usually attend. Probably some other important personalities you'd do well to at least learn about. Okay, Primogen. The Primogen Council represents the interests of the local kindred and advises the prince on matters of law and rule. Traditionally, it consists of representatives from each of the most prominent clans or factions in the domain, naturally favoring those of the Camarilla. Though outsiders are allowed to report any issues to Primogen, not of their own clan, Primogen are often elders, but despite the term, well, Primogen comes from Latin, means the firstborn, there are no rules in place that this is how it must be. In fact, during the last few decades, more and more councils have seen drastic changes to their structure. Basically, they're a council. The Primogen is like the most important, quote-unquote, figure that is present of a clan in a given place and time. They're like representatives of their clans in like these places and councils. So like there's a Primogen council in New York and in other states like let's say California and everything. So yeah, basically that's what the Primogen council is. How should I carry myself when inside? Well, yeah, you never told me if there's any savoir-vivre kind of rules I should respect when talking to other vampires. Like, is there like an etiquette? I'm not sure. Knowing that you're among your superiors is probably the most important. In our society, status comes with age. Pardon my insincerity, but you are insignificant. Not even associating with me can make the fact that you've been kindred for barely a few nights be forgotten. So know your place, stay out of your superior's business, and show the utmost respect. Thanking the prince for sparing you, and maybe having a friendly chat with Kadir publicly might show your gratefulness for being a part of the Camarilla now. I would suggest you make it sincere. At any rate, you should behave yourself tonight. Remember what I told you about reflecting on me as your patron? I have a reputation to uphold in the court. Do not tarnish it. There it is. She might have saved you, she might be protecting you and teaching you, but it's clear what she's really concerned about. Her own interests. You should never forget that in that world, well, that world or the real world, for all that matter. You step into the heart hole with something of a bad memory. The last time you were here, your entire world had been turned upside down, and your existence nearly ended. But tonight, there's very little outward hostility. Yes, Kadir gives you a look that's definitely intended to remind you of your place, but the prince, also in attendance, seems pleased to see you. Welcome, Sophie. Stephen. Did I get that right? Good evening to both of you. I understand there's somebody else you wish to present to the court tonight. Yes, Prince, they will be joining us shortly. My assistant is retrieving them presently. This better be worth the prince's time, Langley. The prince gives Kadir a cold glance. Forgive the sheriff's harshness. He's in a particularly foul mood tonight. Something to do with Stephen's begetter eluding his grasp, I believe. Ouch, that must have hurt his ego, even if his only reply is a crooked smile. The mention of your sire makes you come back to all the talk of eschewing societal norms and disillusionment with the status quo you've enjoyed back in the club. Look at you now. Behaved, agreeable. She likely wouldn't be too happy with this whole setup. Prince, court, hierarchy, titles, but hey, she's gone probably forever. If you ever break out of this, it'll be on your own. The flaring up of whispers in the gallery hall breaks you out of your thoughts. Gregory enters the room, the jumpsuit-clad, inert vampire still staked on his shoulder. The show's about to start. Sophie's driver places his charge in the middle of the room and nods respectfully to Kadir. The sheriff approaches the vampire and removes the stake from his chest. The captive's eyes flicker to life, and he starts looking around in disbelief. Like a cornered animal, he backs out on all fours, keeps going in circle until he realizes he's trapped. Kadir steps on the man's chest and pins him to the floor. Why, who do we have here? Oh fuck, oh shit, no, come on, don't. Silence! The sheriff takes on an aura of utter dread. He appears as if he's a primal force of nature that's out to get you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do but shrivel in terror. The beast inside you shrieks, and you could swear it happens in unison with the instincts of some of the other guests here tonight. So everyone's scared of this guy, yeah. It's unlike anything you've experienced in his company during your turbulent first nights as a vampire. He really did go easy on you, all things considered. It seems like it takes all of the hoodlums' willpower to not crawl into a fetal position and start crying. No, please, don't hurt me, man, don't. You and me are going to have a little talk downstairs at the prince's discretion. Please, go ahead, my sheriff. You heard the prince. Get up, let's go. He doesn't wait for a confirmation, he just grabs the man and drags him, kicking and screaming out of the room. Conversation starts all around you, some whispered, some quite overt. Sophie looks somewhat bored of the whole affair, her eyes wandering from art pieces to art piece. She's clearly finding nothing to her particular liking. What happens now? So what happens now? It'll be at least some minutes before Kadir gets the information he seeks out of this thug. Why not mingle while we wait for him to break? Excuse me. Sophie leaves your side and goes to a corner of the gallery where a group of kindred, some seemingly pretty old-fashioned, gathered. The concierge offers you a drink, still warm, it smells nice. Just a sip to start you off, a splash over your palate, coating your tongue and the inside of your cheeks. Nourishment. You're left to your own devices. You have a quick look around. The prince is currently talking to a dark-skinned woman that you recall seeing here those few nights ago. She has a cold but noble countenance to her. Their conversation seems to be pretty casual. A loud, shrill laugh turns your attention to the best spectacled man who you saw with Sophie on the night of your judgment. He's making the rounds, shouting on different patrons. You feel somebody's eyes on you. A casually dressed, plain-looking man stands alone near a column, watching you. He turns his gaze away sheepishly when he realizes you've noticed. You approach the prince, trying to stay as respectful of her private conversation as possible. She glances at you as you step forward, her scrutinizing gaze mimicked by her companion. She addresses the dark-skinned woman before turning to you. Excuse me for just a moment, Samira. Yes, Stephen, what is it? I wanted to give you my thanks. I wish to thank you for sparing me, Prince. I realize it wasn't an easy decision to make, and I wanted to express my sincere appreciation. How thoughtful of you. She takes a long look at you before she continues. I didn't do it from the kindness of my unbeating heart. You are an asset to Miss Langley, to the Camarilla, and to me. I believe I made the right decision. Prove to me and the other kindred of this city that it was so, and there might be more to your future nights than just survival and servitude. The dark-skinned woman looks impatiently at you and catches the prince's attention. Forgive me, that's all the time I can spare right now. We have some things to discuss with Samira still. Enjoy your night, Stephen. You leave the two women to their conversation, which they get back to almost immediately after Prince turns to Samira. You notice Sophie mingling with other kindred, clearly in her element and not to be disturbed. Kadir hasn't come back yet, so you can probably still find time for at least one conversation. The man notices your attention, but it takes a few minutes before he pauses his mingling for long enough to actually approach him. He looks at you quizzically. Thomas Archiro. Pardon? It's my name. I assume you'd like to know. I know you. By name only, of course. Stephen. Embraced just a few nights ago, huh? Well. How's Hundred treating you? You know, I think I'm beginning to like it. I mean, it's a bunch of new things for me, but I'm getting the hang of it. Oh, already? Fast learner, are you? Good attitude to have. It'll take you places. He takes a moment to clean his glasses, completely ignoring you until he's done and puts them back on. I'm sorry, got a bit distracted. You know, most of us don't need to wear these, right? I can see just fine without them, but it's a statement. The damn thing is keep catching specks of dust and other assorted shit, though. Never stay clean for long. Sometimes I think there are more trouble in their word, wouldn't you say? Well, they look good on you. You bet they do. Alright, that was a nice chat, but I have to catch up with a few other fellows tonight. Talk to you later. Jeannie, hey, Jeannie. He doesn't even give you a chance to say goodbye. He's already off, grabbing 2 glasses of a concierge's tray and handing one to a mustachioed man nearby. A loud exchange near the staircase grabs everybody's attention. Kadir is back, and the hoodlum is with him. The sheriff pushes his unfortunate victim inside the room. The vampire that threatened you last night is a mess. That stupid hat is still inexplicably on his head, covering some of his ruined face in welcome shadow. He's barely conscious. His shin is broken, you think. Something protruding there, making the pant leg bulge. One arm seems twisted at a strange angle. Very little blood, surprisingly, but clearly a whole lot of hurt. Well, Kadir, did our guest cooperate? Tell the prince your name. It's Howard. And who do you run with, Howard? The Midnighters. An Anarch coterie, my prince. Active for some time now. Though from what this one told me, the name is about the only legacy the group has kept over the years. I see. Hey, Prince, I didn't mean it. I didn't know, I didn't... A loud crack makes some of the guests audibly gasp as Kadir's slap dislocates the man's jaw. A spray of blood creates something like an abstract heart piece on the floor. This one is guilty of threatening a member of the Camarilla and claiming a domain without the prince's approval. That alone would be enough to pass swift judgment, but he is also Anarch's scum. My prince? Well, there can be only one verdict. Final bet. Do your duty, sheriff. Unless, of course, somebody would like to play at being a good Samaritan like our dear Miss Langley a few nights ago. The look the prince serves you and Sophie is a cruel jest. Sophie takes it gracefully, smiling and slipping her arm under yours in a strange public show of affection. Nobody says anything. The vampire named Howard jumps to his feet and makes for the window. I would like to use celerity and grab Howard, but I do know we're in Elysium right now, a place where vampires may gather without fear of harm. Court functions in the Elysium are strictly kept apart from mortals and surrounded by secrecy. But the Elysian building itself could be a public museum, a gallery, If I'm not mistaken, though, feel free to correct me on that, we are not allowed to use disciplines or vampiric powers. I'm pretty sure it is prohibited, so I'm gonna try stopping him without my powers. In a split second, you make your choice. You dash forward and hit Howard with your shoulder. He crashes into a painting, 4 abstract shapes, and a photorealistic squirrel for some reason, and falls down. You pin him to the floor, but his survival instincts makes him a tough opponent to keep down. He turns the tables, he sits down on you, and tries to bite you. His head disappears from his shoulders, Kadir's blade slashing just centimeters away from your face. Instantly limp and decaying in front of you or eyes, the lifeless body weighs you down. You throw it off, straighten your attire, and look to the crowd. Well, Stephen, your eagerness is laudable, if unnecessary. That Howard fellow couldn't have hoped to escape his fate, not facing Kadir's expertise. However, I have made note of this show of loyalty on both you and your patron's accounts. I would like to thank Miss Langley for bringing this Anarch talk to my and Kadir's attention. I assume all have found the verdict satisfactory. It's a rhetorical question, and everybody here knows it. Then I consider tonight's meeting concluded. Good night to all of you. She steps out of the room, and you see that many of the guests move to do the same. Sophie seems to be conversing with somebody, a serious-looking man in a trench coat, about what transpired. You probably had the time to strike up a conversation of your own too. Kadir Al-Asmai is still here for one, clearly getting ready to leave. Arturo is still here, chatting with the remaining attendants. For a moment you think the man who was looking at you earlier left, but he's still here, keeping to himself in a secluded corner. The plain-looking guy from before is clearly uncomfortable here and is ready to leave. You approach him as he's making his way. So what do you make of this trial? Any feelings on how the trial went? Happy with the result? Not much of a trial, was it? Most of it was our dear sheriff torturing one of us while we sipped blood from fancy glasses. His bitterness is palpable. Apologies. I'm not in a great mood. The name's Larson, or you can call me Robert. Either is fine. So, do you have a role in this court, or are you just here for the company? Ha, that's a loaded question. I'm one of Prince Panhard's primogen. I'm usually here to advise the prince, but clearly that wasn't necessary, so I guess I'm not entirely sure why I came here tonight. Okay, I'm just wondering what clan is he from? What about you, though? How does it feel to have had a hand in the same kind of business that could have ended in your final death? No way, that's unfair. I forget how new you are to all of this. Not sure if you were paying attention the other night, but when the prince mentioned diverging opinions on whether you should be executed or not, that was me. I was the diverging opinion. That's, huge. Thank you, even if I didn't change the prince's mind. Well, that's huge, thank you, even if it didn't change the prince's mind. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Listen, I don't want to be rude, and I appreciate you reaching out, but word of advice, stay away from me. Many vampires in this sect regard my position as primogen to be some kind of a joke, you know? You talk to me, they'll notice, and they'll hold it against you. You have a quick look behind you, and see that a few of the kindred keep shooting you curious glances. One woman in particular, a redhead, boasting a fanciful hairstyle, watches you disapprovingly. Some of them already do, I imagine. Listen, I need to go. Enjoy your night and all that. With just a single look at the rest of the thinning crowd, he leaves the gallery. It's right about when Sophie also ends her conversation and walks over to you. Interesting evening, wasn't it? Come, Gregory's waiting downstairs.